Yo, what is good YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing episode number 7 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team unlimited and or competitive play. If you want to be involved in a future episode of this series, make sure you follow me on Twitter. My link is always down in the description below, and be on the lookout for a tweet about this series on Friday nights. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 2,500 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload videos every single day, and I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already, if you do hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's hop right into it and start off with the first team in this video. First team comes in from Trent. He says he's got 350k plus 50k in the auction house, and he's running Gary, who's really good. Then you have Steph, Kobe, Harden, Grant, Chris Mullin, Carmelo, Glenn Robinson, Chris Webber, and Wilt. I will say this is not the prettiest picture I've ever seen, but I think for a team like this with 400-ish K, like you're saying, I honestly think it's not a bad idea to quote-unquote tactically downgrade the Steph to a guy like Isaiah Thomas or even a Jason Terry. I think that both of those guys can give you a very similar amount of what Steph gives you, and IT, honestly, I think is probably a better card, especially on current gen, than Steph. So I think you could go either of those ways, which will save you a little bit of MT and honestly give you just as good or even better of a point guard as that backup option. Besides that, I really like your 2s, I really like your 3s, your 4s are solid, your 5s are solid, but honestly the backup 4 and 5 I don't love anymore. This Wilt Chamberlain card's solid if you run the straight pick and roll and can match them effectively and stuff like that. Glenn Robinson, also a decent card, but I think picking up a guy like Tobias Harris, especially if you can find one with defensive badges, would be a big W. And then I will say Wilt can still play, but I would still probably also pick up a Josh Smith type option, a guy who you can sub in at the 5 if you're struggling to score with Wilt on the court, which would give you more flexibility as a guy you can carry in your last 3 players. Besides that, I think you got a really solid squad, a squad that definitely can compete as well. Next team today comes in from Vishnu. He's got 130k, plays on current gen, and Jason Terry is the guy that I think is really, really good. One of the best cards that came out in yesterday's set. Also has Fred VanVleet coming off the bench, Mullin, Harden, Karan Butler, ML Carr, Paul Silas, Josh Smith, Anton Jameson, and Rayful Flintz. And this is a solid team. You also have DeAndre Jordan as one of your last 3 players off the bench, which I like because you have very little size in your starting lineup. So I think in the event that you're getting mashed a lot, it is valuable to have a guy like DeAndre Jordan who you can put at the 5. Other than that, with 130k MT, I think saving your MT might be a good option. I might consider selling Anton Jameson and swapping him for a guy like Tobias Harris, who gives you a little bit more, I think, on the offensive end of the court. And if you find one with defense badges, can be a little bit better on that defensive end as well. And then, I mean, besides that, you could maybe potentially look to upgrade Fred VanVleet to a DeJounte Murray, a guy who gives you more defense and more size, but isn't quite the same level of playmaker. It really depends on how much you like to playmake with Harden. So there are a couple of areas you can go. Otherwise, I think really holding on to your MT is going to be your best option, just to save as much MT as possible to continue to maximize your team with top tier budget cards like a Jason Terry. And I like the fact that you have a lot of those top free cards like a Silas, Chris Mullin, Karan, guys like that as well. So definitely a solid squad there. Next team comes in from Francisco. He's got 360k. He likes to play Holiday on ball with Harden as his primary ball handler. All his players are badged except for Jaylen Brown. Looking for a new backup point guard with better release and equal defense. LT did not work for me. What is he? Oh, IT. Sorry, I can't read. Open also just to make an unlimited run. Well, obviously, you're going to want to pick up Gary Payton at some point, but that's what you're trying to get to right now. And an upgrade over Walt Frazier, I think, would be a guy like DeJounte Murray. But if you're going to pick up DeJounte Murray, you also need a secondary. I mean, you need a primary ball handler off your bench, in all honesty. So I think going the DeJounte Murray route, you could start DeJounte Murray because I think he's better than Drew. Bring Drew off the bench right here, and then pick up like a Donovan Mitchell, for example, at that backup shooting guard position. You could look to pick up a badged Kawhi Leonard at the backup small forward and Tobias Harris at the backup power forward. Really just replace your 1 through 4 on the bench with like a DeJounte, Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi, and Tobias, and if possible, badged versions of those cards as well, because I think that would definitely be a significant upgrade to your squad, just giving you a lot more depth and making your bench a lot better. And honestly, those 4 guys combined are probably going to cost you 70 to 80,000 MT, which means you're going to save the vast majority of your MT still for future content. But I think definitely improving the depth of your bench is going to be important. And then you could also look to pick up a center like a Miles Turner, a guy who who can shoot, because DeAndre Jordan can't really shoot, and then you can bring DeAndre Jordan off your bench, or even just put him as your last 3 and play Josh Smith off the bench, and then have DeAndre if you need him to come in off the bench in certain situations and stuff. Next team today comes in from Fryan. He's got everyone badged extra Hoffs. Weber starts over to Kimbe, so switch that. Current gen comp player. He says, yeah, 50k MT. So 50k MT. I like this team. You got great point guards, great shooting guards, solid small forwards, solid power forwards, solid centers. I think selling LeBron and picking up a Tobias Harris is a good decision, because that'll save you 80k MT, something along those lines. And I think that freeing up that 80k MT could be really valuable in swapping LeBron for a guy in Tobias Harris, who I think, especially with a couple defensive badges, is just as good or even arguably better at the 4 than LeBron. So I might look to do that, because that'll save you some MT. And then, I mean, I think I don't love Pippen, but I don't know what upgrades you could make immediately to upgrade from him. So honestly, I think selling LeBron, and then you get closer to maybe 130k after you pick up Tobias, 120k, something like that, allows you to just hold on to your MT and wait for other top budget cards to come out, because your next place to upgrade is probably that small forward position. And I don't, you could maybe go get Grant Hill, I guess, but you wouldn't have any MT if you picked up Grant Hill and moved Kawhi to the bench. But you could potentially look to do that if you have the MT. It depends on if you want to spend all your MT or not. But I would definitely tactically downgrade LeBron to Tobias Harris and then go from there, honestly. Second to last team for today comes in from Adrian from Cholo. He says he's got 209k MT. This is his squad, and he's running Kyrie at the starting point guard position, which is a card that I am not high on anymore. Kyrie plays no defense, and I don't like Serge Ibaka at the 4 either. So I'll say one thing. Point guard position, Jason Terry is a good upgrade. He is a better defender than Kyrie, especially with defensive badges, but even without him, I just think he's overall a better defender. I would get the unmasked Terry, because the unmasked Terry also has better defensive tendencies than the masked one. So I'd probably go pick up an unmasked Terry to play your starting point guard position. And then probably move Bowen to the 3 and sell Chris Middleton, because I think Bowen is just as good as Middleton. He's a better defender, and that frees up more MT to sell Middleton. Sell Gary Harris as well, and then pick up a 4, whether that's a Tobias Harris. Honestly, I'd pick up Tobias Harris. I'm sorry, I'm confused. Pick up Tobias Harris at the 4, and then Josh Smith at the 5. Sell Porzingis, take Ibaka out of your lineup, and that would give you a team of Jason Terry, James Harden, Carmelo, Tobias Harris, Josh Smith, and then Ron Boone, Devin Booker, Bruce Bowen, Dennis Rodman, DeAndre Jordan, which I think is a much better squad at that point. And honestly, probably does not cost you that much MT after you sell the couple players. You might go down a little bit of MT, but not a ton. I think your team would definitely be better upgraded and better positioned as well at that point. And then the final team from today's video comes in from Carson. He's got 150k-ish to work with, mostly a free reward lineup, which I like to see, considering getting Mullen and potentially Tobias or AK. And I will say this, honestly, with a team like this, I think one thing I would consider doing is you need a primary ball handler in your starting lineup. And I think a guy who's a really good option for that would be a Donovan Mitchell. You can plug in the 2 instead of Booker, especially if you get a badge that one. He's a much better ball handler. He can create his own shot a lot better, and he's not super expensive. So if you could get him and play him at the 2 instead of Booker, that would be a W upgrade. Additionally, I think picking up a center would be a nice area to look at, whether that's a Miles Turner or somebody like that, because I don't like Ibaka that much, and I don't love Porzingis either. I think maybe selling Porzingis and picking up Miles Turner and Josh Smith to be your 2 centers, and then you can have DeAndre Jordan as one of your last 3 in the event that you need a big body. But that's probably what I would do, is sell KP, pick up Turner and Josh Smith, and then pick up a Donovan Mitchell to play the 2. Besides that, team is really solid. Grind towards Paul Silas if you can. He would definitely be a nice upgrade to have as well, and continue to save your MT. But that is going to spend a lot of MT of your MT, I think. But I think that is the way to go, is upgrading that center position as well as picking up a primary ball handler for your starting lineup. So that is going to do it for this video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And make sure you go follow me on Twitter as well, and be on the lookout for a tweet about this series to potentially be involved in a future episode. But yeah, like I said, that is going to do this for this video. Appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.